Welcome inside the Breslin Center. Here you'll find the nation's third-ranked team, the Michigan State Spartans, back home to take on Southern Utah on BTN. Kevin Kugler alongside Sean Morris, and Michigan State and Tom Izzo very aware today that things have been weird this week in college basketball. Top-ranked Duke going down earlier today to Boston College. Kansas falling earlier to Washington. Coach Izzo made his team aware of all of this and said, we've got to be ready. We don't want to see an upset today against Southern Utah. And for the Thunderbirds, who come in on a 3-game winning streak, 5-3 overall, Jaden Cohee is a name you're going to hear a lot. He was strong on Wednesday in their win against Long Beach State with 25 points. He averages 18 points per game for the Thunderbirds of Southern Utah. And for Michigan State, we didn't see him much in the second half against Rutgers. Nick Ward didn't see a lot of action. Nick Ward back out there tonight to start this ball game. But Jaren Jackson in the middle, coming off Sean Morris, an 8-block game.
And look for Michigan State to funnel these smaller Thunderbirds into the lane. Southern Utah can shoot the three very consistently. So if you're Michigan State, you want to run them off the three-point line and toward the shot blocker, Jaren Jackson.
8 blocks in that grinded-out win against Rutgers. And talk about contrast in styles. You played a grinder game against Rutgers, and Coach Michael, who's got that team playing some awfully good defense. And then you come against Southern Utah, who wants to do nothing but run up and down the floor.
And it's reflected in the fact that they score in the upper 80s, but the bad news for the Thunderbirds, they also allow 83 points per outing.
And that's an improvement over last year. Nick Ward going to work first in the post, and with a left hand a little bit short, and the rebound to Dre Marin.
Nice job by Misako of holding his ground against the powerful Ward down there. Took away that left hand.
Jacob Calloway in the corner to Marin. Marin, the dribble handoff to Cohee. Jacob Calloway averaging a little over 7 points per game, and he rolls home the three. He loves to shoot the three, does the native of Juneau, Alaska.
36% from behind the arc. We talked about it. This is a Southern Utah team that has some capable three-point shooters, Calloway among them.
It'll be a quiet night for the shot clock operator on that Southern Utah end. They're not going to waste a lot of time down there.
Oh, they missed him. They got it to him a little late.
Ward one-on-one in the block. Turns with a left hand. That one left short. And Christian Musoko, 2 good post-defensive plays. Got
down lower than Ward on both of those defensive stances. Nice job.
Low man wins an awful lot regardless of sport.
Absolutely. That's no question about that, especially when it comes to things like tipping.
Cohee will launch the three, and that's the turnover. The travel gives it back to Michigan State.
And you mentioned Cohee, the leading scorer for the Thunderbirds. 18 points per outing, a transfer from Seattle, sat out a year ago. This is a Thunderbird squad much improved from a year ago, Kevin. They've already won 5 games versus 6 in the entire season a year ago.
Spartans looking for their first points. A couple of Ward misses inside. Here's Jackson going to work, and Jackson on the drive. A whistle and a foul. Jaren Jackson working his way to the foul line. There's Todd Simon in his 2nd season at the helm of Southern Utah. He's a native of Fowler, Michigan, just 25 miles away from East Lansing. He's a graduate of Central Michigan and is back in his home state. He said, I got a lot of friends and family that are coming down. One of his first jobs was as the junior varsity head coach at Harrison High School, which is about 90 miles north of the Lansing and East Lansing area. Jackson good on both free throws. He's an 82% shooter at the line. Young man, big guy who can stay on the floor in crunch situations.
And he hasn't necessarily shown it statistically, but also very dangerous from behind the arc. A well-rounded game for that young man.
Up top for Calloway. Trying his 2nd three, this one off, and bridges the rebound. The quick push up the floor. Langford hesitated a bit. James McGee able to get in front. Here's Cassius Winston. He's been red hot to start the year from 3. 57% from behind the arc for Winston. Langford from the elbow, won't go. Ward tipping the rebound out of bounds, and that one's going to the Thunderbirds. Tom Izzo, the head man at Michigan State in his 23rd year. And we asked him earlier today with shoot around, we said, what's this game get you? And he said, back when Sean played the game in the Big Ten, there weren't a lot of differing styles. He said, now there's so many different styles in this league. He said, you play Rutgers, you want to play a team like this that likes to get up and down the floor.
Yeah, you made that family friendly. Nicely done there, Kevin.
Thank you.
And, he did everything but intimate that there weren't even 50 states at the time that I wore the jersey.
And by not intimating it, he said there were not 50 states the last time Sean wore the jersey. Foul underneath going against Jacob Calloway in the battle for the rebound.
Now in the half-court set now because with a dead ball inbound here, Kevin, let's see if Michigan State really tries to make a concerted effort to go back inside to Ward to try to get his confidence back, because the first two times they went to him, he lost that one-on-one battle with Masoko.
Ivan Madunic off the bench for the first time today for Southern Utah. Both of these teams will run frequent lineup changes through as the ball's knocked away and taken away. Bridges with the turnover. Coe to the other end, rejected by Jackson. There's one. He had 8 against Rutgers.
And a nice job of not giving up on the play. If they don't split back, again, Masoko, an excellent job on the hedge, leads to a defensive transition opportunity. But if Bridges doesn't sprint back and contest that doesn't allow Jackson then to come up and clean up the mess. Nice job by Bridges and not giving up on the play.
26 blocks on the year now for Jaren Jackson. James McGee will back it out to Coe. Coe will try the 3. That one dies on the back of the rim. A rebound foul underneath. James Aites with a collision underneath. But the foul not going on Aites, it'll go on Madunic.
And the Thunderbirds, no strangers to fouls. Last year, they were dead last in the country, committed 803 fouls. If my math via my abacus is correct, about 24 per outing. They're on pace for that again this year in the early going, averaging about 23 fouls per game.
That's not a pace you want to keep going on. 188 fouls so far on the year, including the 3 tonight. Tum Tum Nairn off the bench and up the floor. Jackson at the top, working against Madunic. Langford with the fadeaway. And the rebound ripped down by Coe. Michigan State cold to start, 0 for 4 from the floor.
And a nice job of gang rebounding thus far by the Thunderbirds.
Here's Aites working inside against Schilling, an air ball from point-blank range. Bridges with the rebound. Michigan State 0 for 4. Southern 1 for 6. The only bucket of 3. Langford on the attack. The pull-up from 15 is good. And the first field goal gets Michigan State on top.
Nice job of spacing the floor, and a good job by Schilling. When he saw Langford dribble toward him, Kevin, he didn't become stationary. He fanned out and took his defender with him.
Aites, the handoff to Brandon Better. Better a little stumble, ball knocked free, able to keep it alive with 8 to shoot. The 3 in the corner won't go. Rebound, Schilling battles for it. It's out of bounds, and it's going to stay on this end of the floor. Timeout on the floor. Todd Simon says he plays the game in 4-minute increments. Through the first 4 minutes, Southern Utah hanging around. Thunderbirds of Southern Utah down 1 on the road at Michigan State. 15:44 remaining in the first half. Alongside Sean Morris, I'm Kevin Kugler. We welcome you back inside the Breslin Center. Very different style for Michigan State coming out of that conference weekend against Nebraska and Rutgers, and now against Southern Utah.
The last 2 opponents that the Spartans have faced very deliberate, especially in the half court. Rutgers really wants to grind it out. Nebraska will run if the opportunity's there, but nothing like the Southern Utah Thunderbirds, who want to get up and down the floor. They talk about the pace with which they want to play, and I think that, along with the change in intensity that you have going from an in-season or early season conference game to another non-conference game, has been on display as well.
McQuaid right off the bench, very patient, hits the 3, and Michigan State up 7-3 over Southern Utah.
And McQuaid only 29% from deep on the year. However, against DePaul out in Oregon, he knocked down 6 of 8 from behind the arc in that game.
McQuaid's a guy who can do that for you. A very talented individual who battled some injury over the summer again, a stress fracture in his foot. 5 to shoot. Cohee launching and hits, and Cohee with the answer. It's a 1-point game.
That's a tough shot because not only did he have someone in front of him, he had McQuaid running into his peripheral vision.
Bridges can't connect on that one. He's had a couple of shots over the last 30 seconds or so. The try from 3 for Cohee, and quickly back the other way as Schilling gets the rebound. Tum Nairn the push to McQuaid. Entry to Jackson. Nice spin by Jackson, and the hook falls.
Nice spin by Jackson and a good post-entry feed. They threw it away from the defense. That allowed Jackson to get his feet set, got low, and then able to spin away from contact and complete with the right hand, but a good interior feed started that.
4 points, 2 rebounds for Jaren Jackson. Cohee. Musoko's done a good job defensively. The handoff to Brandon Better with 6 to shoot. Cohee's got to hurry. 3 on the shot clock, 2 on the shot clock. The turnaround jumper not going to go, and Schilling with the rebound. Now Nairn looking to push. Ahead to McQuaid. 3 again from the left side. Not going to go, and the rebound from Marin. Ray Marin, the pull-up jumper is good. High arcing shot for the freshman from Glendale, Arizona.
The basket was a rumor to Marin because Jackson was flying out at him, and you could tell by the amount of arc he had to put on that jump shot. Very difficult shot.
Smart kid, coach's son. Dad Jacob, the coach at Apollo High School. Played for his dad. Now, guy that they've got really high hopes for as he develops at Southern Utah. Here's Schilling back to work again. The spin inside, that one falls.
And a really smart play by Schilling, Kevin, because Musoko had been able to get low and use that arm bar. Once you turn and face, that arm bar has to come out. The advantage went away from the defender, and 2 Schilling there.
First 2 for Schilling in an 11-8 ball game.
I'm telling you, you're not going to see any, but it's a small thing, but an important thing. You will see few, if any, better than Schilling in defending that high screen and roll from the post position.
When Denzel Valentine got to the league, he called Tom Izzo and he said, you know, as far as ball screen defense goes, Gavin Schilling, if he were to come to the NBA right now, he'd be one of the best on our team in his rookie year. Bridges hits the 3.
And a nice skip pass over the top. What we mean by the skip pass is rather than going up to the top of the key and then over, you skip that pass, go over the top of the defense before they can get situated.
6-point lead for the Spartans. Southern Utah, 2 for 7 from 3, 3 of 12 overall. Brandon Better inside. That one may have been tipped ever so slightly by Bridges, but he was still able to get it to fall.
Does he get a hockey assist for that?
He should. Goalies everywhere nodding their head.
Oh, nice.
Cut to McQuaid. McQuaid is fouled.
Good sequence in the half court. You dribble at your teammate, and you go right to the basket, but Gavin Schilling making his presence known, Kevin, on both ends, known as an outstanding defender. He turns, he squares, the defender has to eliminate the arm bar. That's the result.
Basketball on BTN is brought to you in part by State Farm, here to help life go right. Chilly day here in East Lansing. Spartans starting to heat up inside, though, a 14-10 lead. And the fouls starting to mount up on Southern Utah. 5 fouls whistled against the Thunderbirds, none for Michigan State. And that young man, Jaden Cohee, on the bench with his second. That's a significant second foul because Cohee's the leader. He's the communicator on the floor with head coach Todd Simon. That's a big loss for the Thunderbirds to have him on the bench.
Not just in the 18 points per ball game he puts up, but also the fact that he leads his team in assists with about 4 per outing.
Matt McQuaid's provided a little spark off the bench. He'll sit down for Joshua Langford. McQuaid with 5 points in 4 minutes. 2 assists as well. 6-point lead for Michigan State, and there's a little bit of that communication right there without Cohee on the floor.
And you also start to see the depth become a factor with the number of fresh bodies that Coach Tom Izzo was able to put in, especially on that front line.
Musoko rejected by Ward. No chance for Musoko against Ward. And a foul's going to be called on the other end. Ward and Musoko getting tangled up down low, and Christian Musoko picks up his first. Next on BTN, Big Ten hockey comes your way as the Gophers and Buckeyes continue their series in Columbus. The puck drops next right here on BTN and streaming live on BTN To Go and Fox Sports Go.
Musoko and Ward still going at it down there.
Versoko's been good early in the post. Worked on it all summer long. Todd Simon telling us he's a lot more crisp defensively this year than he was after coming in from Salt Lake Community College, and that's going to go the other way.
And that's the right call. A really good job by Masoko of getting over the top. You talked about it earlier, Kevin, that low man wins. Masoko got down lower and then came over the top. Watch Masoko here. He gets down low, over the top, and then when Ward extends that inside arm, if he kept his elbow bent, chances are we're not going the other way. But once he extended it, that was drawn by Masoko. Nice job of post defense.
First foul on Ward as McGee goes to work. The bounce back to Marin. Callaway, the air ball, caught by Langford. Quick no-look pass ahead. Ward lost it on the way up. That's a turnover. Official right on top of that one. Ward saying it was tipped. Looked like he just lost the handle on it. Back-to-back turnovers, keeping it a 6-point game.
And how about Marin showing some gumption? Because Ward had a full head of steam coming at him. That was a Prius taking on an SUV.
That one tipped away and taken away. Kenny Goins will start it up the floor. Cassius Winston on the drive. The floater, no. Caught on the weak side. Flip back out to Goins, and now Langford. Langford, the skip in the corner, an open three.
And poor Marin having to play without his shoe in the left corner.
His left foot as well. Shoeless. Dre Marin. And now he's got to defend without a shoe. Goins out to Winston for three.
Back-to-back triples, and Cassius Winston showing you why in the early part of this season, shooting 57% from deep.
Eight 0 run to open it up. 22-10, Michigan State halfway through this first half. And for Todd Simon, does not have his main man on the floor, Jaden Cohey, so a scramble won by Michigan State.
This last basket, excellent job of spacing the floor by Michigan State and kicking it out to Winston, who was trailing the play. That was his second made three in as many possessions. The first came off more of a scramble situation where Carter kept it alive, and then they kick it into the corner. Here he does a nice job of fanning out on the wing.
And they've got to put Jaden Cohey back on the floor, Sean. Down 12, Michigan State running. Cohey with 2 fouls back out there. The freshman will still bring it up.
And if you're Michigan State, you have to be cognizant of the fact that Cohey is back out there with those 2 fouls, and maybe isolate him, try to get him on an island, because he's not going to be able to be very assertive defensively.
7 to shoot. 8 has to fire. Not going to go. Bridges the rebound. Winston on the push. He's hit back-to-back threes.
Bridges has to just take it right at him.
Bridges with the spin to the rim. A 10-0 burst for the Spartans, up 24-10. 5 now for Bridges. The drive against Langford, not going to go. Ben Carter starts it the other way. Winston, that lob tipped away, and Cohey takes it away. Long pass ahead, and leading the field, the easy 2.
That's the second time we've seen the ball slip out of the hands of a Michigan State Spartan. Remember, a few possessions ago, Ward wasn't able to maintain control. Most recently, it was Winston.
Carter running through the lane, blocked away by Madunic. Nice play by Madunic to get a hand on that one.
Yeah, I think Carter got caught up in the air and then decided he was going to try to pass at the last minute.
Now Madunic back out. 18 on the shot clock. McGee leaves it for Madunic in the corner. The 3 up and down, just his 3rd made 3 of the year.
Nice set in the half court there by Southern Utah. Little bit of a curl cut. Excellent job of fanning out with that dribble to create the passing angle.
Thunderbirds 3 of 8 from 3. Ward so strong. Couldn't get that one to fall. Bridges will go back to work. Little crossover. Bridges. He was trying to lob it to Ward. Ward wasn't looking for it, but he muscles it up. They'll wave off the shot. A tie-up is called first. Possession arrow gives it to Southern Utah. Timeout in East Lansing.
Michigan State's been able to get up and down the floor, utilize some defensive transition, but watch Miles Bridges. Unbelievable athleticism. They don't see much of that in the Big Sky as Bridges puts Cohee on an island, and he's marooned.
24-15 Michigan State over Southern Utah. Kevin Kugler alongside Sean Morris. We know Miles Bridges can score, but what really is underrated about his game, Sean, his defensive prowess.
And he leads a team in Michigan State, which has tightened things up on that end of the floor. You take a look at what the Spartans are allowing overall from inside the arc. Very impressive in that regard, especially when you consider some of the teams that they've played thus far. Blocks, we talked about Jaren Jackson and what he gives them, and they've also done a fair job at defending the three, but against a team like that, this is something that they can work on, because this is a team in Southern Utah which really likes to live from behind the arc, so they have an opportunity to practice closing out under control.
Jamal Aites backing it up over Ward. Bridges battling for the rebound, thrown back into play briefly, but out of bounds. Later tonight, when the action ends, the big show takes over. Highlights from around the conference, post-game reactions straight from the arena, and in-depth expert analysis. The big show presented by Geico tonight, 10:30 Eastern, right here on BTN. Entry pass down low, and Jackson elevating for the flush. 6 for Jackson. Jordan Lyons on the floor now for the first time for Southern Utah. First time all season as the drive inside. The scoop shot won't go from better. Rebound Michigan State. Quick up the floor. 3. Down for Langford.
And that just shows you how good Winston is. That pass led Langford right into his shot. He struggled a little bit from shooting the ball last time out, but Winston got it into his comfort zone. A small thing, but a really important thing there by Cassius Winston, showing you why he averages 7 assists per game.
Michigan State, Sean, 5 of 6 from 3 to start this one out. Stretching the lead to 14. 6 on the shot clock for Cohee. Cohee spins, foul line, threw that one up and in. Sometimes you need a little luck.
Even he's laughing.
He's shaking his head still.
It's not figure skating, Kevin. You don't get style points, man.
Oh, Ward, little style points there. Nice spin to the baseline. Honesty compels me to report that he also did not get style points for that nice spin on the baseline. Aites trying to set the screen, and he ended up getting screened. Step back 3 for Brandon. Better, and that falls.
And you have to find him if you're Michigan State. Better comes in shooting 42% from behind the arc.
Talk with folks around Southern Utah. They say he's our microwave guy. He can heat up in a hurry. Scored 26 against Long Beach State. Rebound off the miss for Madunic. Ward thought he was fouled. Cohee trying the lob and just a little off.
Kevin, we talked about the savvy court play of Cassius Winston. Now watch for this pass. It leads Langford right into his shot. It's not behind him. He has the ability to get his feet set. Really nice job in the open floor by Cassius Winston of leading his jump shooting teammate Langford into his shot. That only comes with playing together and practicing together in the offseason, understanding where the recipient of the pass is most comfortable to receive it.
Oh, Sid, that's not an easy skill to acquire. McQuaid around the screen for Jackson. Flips it back to Jackson. Big man will launch from deep. Halfway down. McQuaid battling for the board, and it's out of bounds to Michigan State. Xavier Tillman in the game for Michigan State. Jackson lobbing it to Tillman down low. And that one knocked away and taken away. 7th turnover for the Spartans, and that'll plague Tom Izzo a little bit when he looks at the halftime box score.
It's plagued them all year thus far. That's been the one blemish on their statistical resume.
Nairn ahead to Bridges. Bridges, tough fadeaway. And the rebound ripped down by Jacob Calloway.
Pay off that point about the Spartans and turnovers. They're -3 turnover margin on the year thus far.
Bridges will leave it for Nairn, who will bring it up. Entry pass to Tillman, that's a foul. Musoko battling down low with Tillman, a little bit too aggressive, and that'll be number 2 on Musoko, and that's going to send Michigan State to the foul line.
I tell you what, Musoko, he's not afraid to battle down there. Unfortunately for him in that situation, that shove had the subtlety of a 2x4 to the head. Very easy for the official to catch.
Winston in for Bridges. 4:25 remaining in this first half. Michigan State 4 for 4 at the line tonight. And one more for Xavier Tillman.
I think he's been a very pleasant surprise for Michigan State thus far, and as if they already didn't have enough embarrassment of riches along the front line, to have a freshman like Tillman to be able to come in and give not just minutes, but meaningful minutes, which will pay dividends once the conference play resumes after a little hiatus here between the beginning of December and the beginning of January.
Yeah, he came in with the expectation that he would defend and rebound, but he scored a little bit as well, averaging over 3 points a game. Had 9 against Stony Brook, 6 against DePaul. 10 to shoot for Cohee. In the corner, backing out, Callaway's 3, rolls home, and Callaway's hit a couple from behind the arc.
And Jackson was coming out right at him. The shot blocker came out. The thing that Jackson didn't do, he didn't have his hands up when he went into his release, but nevertheless, a very difficult conversion by Callaway.
Jackson steps back for 3. He's missed 2 from back there. We've got a whistle and a foul. Battling for the rebound, it'll go on Michigan State. And it'll be on Xavier Tillman. Tillman picks up a foul, but there's a lot of depth in that front court for Michigan State. We'll just show you how deep in a moment. Southern Utah hanging around 32-23. Michigan State just wears teams down, Sean Morris, because look at the depth they have in the front court.
And they can run not just bodies, but quality bodies in there. You know, a guy like Gavin Schilling was missed so much a year ago. Kenny Goins played a large part of last season as he has throughout his career. Injured Ben Carter, a 6th-year player, after coming over from Nevada, Las Vegas. So this is a team that a year ago, uncharacteristically, did not average a double-digit rebounding margin. They've righted that part of their ball game, plus 11 rebounding margin thus far in the early part of the year for the Spartans.
Callaway's 3 not going to go this time. Winston the rebound, and Michigan State to push to McQuaid. Back out around now to Winston for an open 3, and Winston has just hit his 3rd from downtown. 9 for Winston.
Well, he's not going to hurt his 57% three-point shooting, going 3 of 3 to start this ball game.
My math tells me that's close to 100%.
That's pretty good.
Callaway rejected inside. Both Jackson and Ward were there. McQuaid looking inside for Ward.
Well, Musoko just did a really good job of beating Ward to a spot.
And a foul on James McGee. Coming up next, the State Farm halftime report. 2 minutes, 44 seconds away. Dave Revson, Robbie Hummel, getting ready to spin some tales for you on our State Farm halftime report. I would guess at some point they'll break down highlights of the Penn State game. There's been a lot of Big Ten action today. Nebraska and Creighton were in a good one earlier today. Wisconsin, boy, for Greg Gard, his roster getting thinner. 2 more devastating injuries announced earlier today, and Dave and Robbie will break it all down coming up on our State Farm halftime report.
And probably the highlight thus far was Michigan coming back and winning in overtime versus UCLA.
Big win. That Beeline squad starting to round into shape a little bit. Pass tipped and saved by Callaway with 13 to shoot. Jackson blocking passes now. Not only shots, but passes. They stepped through that one, lost. Jackson able to pluck it. Ward tiptoeing right near the timeline.
Not exactly ballerina-like, but got the job done.
Closing in on 2 minutes to go in this first half. Michigan State by 12. Bridges the entry to Ward. 6 to shoot.
Yeah, this is a really stagnant offensive set. It's been on the left side of the floor the entire time.
Ward hits the three with no time left. Just exactly as Tom Izzo drew it up.
And he's laughing as well. Coach Izzo had a little smile on his face as Ward ran by. That's his first attempted three, let alone make of the year.
Which means he'll now shoot all the time from out there. Musoko with the hook.
I tell you what, that young man's been impressive because he has been battling a plethora of frontline bulk put forth by the Spartans.
Yeah, we showed you that graphic a moment ago of all the depth. He's had to deal with that depth. Langford hits the jumper as Ward sent Musoko to the deck, and now they're talking a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yep, they're going to, nice job with the, great job by the official to come in, and I think what they're going to do is maybe even get Ward a technical for taunting. They were talking to each other the entire way down the floor.
Yep, and he is. And Tom Izzo doesn't like the call, but I'm not sure he could see what was going on. We had a great vantage point of it because their backs were to Coach Izzo, which put their fronts toward us.
And they were both talking because watch Ward, the bottom of your screen right there. He'll toss Musoko to the ground. He lets him know about it, and then Musoko verbally responds as well.
You can see him talking right at the bottom of your screen there as he ran by. The conversation was occurring towards Musoko.
And the trail official was the one that called the technical. The lead official who was down the floor was stepping in to make sure that it didn't escalate further. But by that point in time, the conduct technical had been called.
Tom Izzo a little calmer, but I still don't believe he liked the call. No. Cohee hits them both. 78% free throw shooter on the year.
And now, if you're Coach Simon with the Thunderbirds, you also wanted to use that opportunity to pull Musoko aside and say, look, you know, you were completely innocent in that. There was a verbal exchange, so you have to believe that the eye in the sky, if you will be keeping an eye on him. So you want to make sure you don't draw unnecessary attention to yourself.
Now the pot will be allowed to cool a little bit because Nick Ward has taken a seat on the bench right now, and Musoko stays out there against Schilling. So things shouldn't heat up any more than they already did. .13 on the shot clock for Cohee.
Good strong show. Nice hedge.
Open three in the corner. That one falls. Seen some good minutes out of the freshman in that backcourt.
I'll tell you what, he's been fearless. He has battled certainly some more experience, but obviously some more physically developed players, and has not backed down one bit.
7 points for Marin in this first half. Came in averaging almost 9 per game. He was a big-time scorer in high school, over 1,500 points, and Michigan State will use a timeout. Tom Izzo still talking about that foul. So let's go back a little bit earlier. This is the jostling before the tech. Yeah, the bottom left-hand side of your screen, you'll see it there. That's where Musoko went down, and then Ward was talking with Musoko on his way up the floor, thus the technical, which drew the ire of Tom Izzo. Sean Morris got a little more explanation from Chris Bieber a moment ago on that. Coming up, our State Farm halftime report. Any additional information?
No, just that it was a Class A technical, that he knew exactly why it was called, because Chris Beaver was the gentleman that came over. He was the lead official, as we talked about during live action, who was stepping in before it escalated, and when he heard the whistle, he knew exactly why, because they were still talking.
Nick Ward feeling a little better right now. 40-30. Ward's got 5 points.
You can't lose sight of Bridges here. Nice job of bumping him off. They were trying to go for a lob. Good recognition by Southern Utah.
Goins three. Not going to go. Schilling with the tip out. 5 seconds to go for Nairn. Nairn, the lob. Schilling is fouled. Tum Nairn the veteran in there with the lob. Musoko with the foul, and that'll be his third.
And that's big, because we talked about the depth of that front line for Michigan State. Musoko has done a more than admirable job of battling a variety of post players for Michigan State, and that third is certainly big. They can't afford to lose anybody, but the way that this game has been played thus far, he's been probably their most valuable player.
Gavin Schilling, who was coached at Findlay Prep by the head man at Southern Utah, Todd Simon. He actually coached 2 players on this Michigan State roster, both Gavin Schilling and then Ben Carter. When Carter was at UNLV, Todd Simon was an assistant there. Both of those guys came to Southern's practice yesterday. 1 second to go. Cohee from half court. Good if it goes. It does not. And halftime is here. And Michigan State takes a 12-point lead into the locker room at the break. So for the third-ranked Spartans, they've gotten a bit of a challenge today, but 7 made threes have paced the Spartans to a 12-point advantage. It may be non-conference season, but the Izzone is in mid-conference season form and rhythm. 42-30, Michigan State with a 12-point lead as we get set to start this second half. Alongside Sean Morris, I'm Kevin Kugler. It was an interesting first half. You saw Southern Utah hang around for a little bit, but then Cassius Winston started getting going from 3.
Three-point shooting really the story in the first half offensively for the Michigan State Spartans. Cassius Winston 3 of 3 from behind the arc, continuing his outstanding play on the offensive end. Came into this ball game, Kevin, shooting 57% from behind the arc, has done nothing to diminish that stat. Has also done a nice job of distributing as he has throughout the course of this season, averaging 7 assists per ball game. 3 today, only 1 miscue for the sophomore Cassius Winston. Now on the flip side offensively for the Michigan State Spartans, they enjoy a decided size advantage, but they only enjoy a 10-4 points in the paint advantage against an undersized and foul-prone Thunderbird squad.
Do you feel like Tom Izzo may have pointed that number out during the locker room conversation a moment ago?
I think that might have been, as they say, a point of emphasis, yes.
Of course, when you're 7 of 10 from 3, you don't look inside as much because those threes are falling. Let's see what Michigan State comes up with here.
And they'll be able to go inside, will the Spartans, because the primary physical presence for the Thunderbirds, Musoko, who just played an outstanding first half, starts the second half on the bench because of those 3 fouls.
Picked up his third with 3 seconds to go in the half. Bridges spinning down the baseline, works it back out up top. 3 for Winston, and the rebound to Jackson. Jaren Jackson muscles it up, and he's fouled.
Another thing that Michigan State did very well in the first half, 14 made field goals in the first 20 minutes for the Spartans. 13 came via the assist.
James McGee with his second foul. Jaren Jackson back at the line where he's 2 for 3 tonight. Spartans coming off a stretch of 6 games in 13 days. And in that stretch, 2 Big Ten teams and 2 top 10 teams.
And then after this ball game, they'll sit for a week before taking on in-state rival Oakland next weekend as the Spartans enter finals.
Don't sleep on Oakland.
No.
It's a team that'll give teams some troubles. The 3 for Jacob Calloway, and Calloway able to splash that one down. He's got 9. All 3 threes have fallen for Callaway after a first miss.
And if you're Michigan State, you have to be cognizant of that fact. And all 3 of those made threes, Kevin, have been of the standstill variety. You need to make them put the ball on the floor. Poor pass entry there almost led to a steal. Threw it right toward the defender, not away.
Skip across into the corner to Winston. And there's going to be a foul going the other way on Jaren Jackson, who knocked him down the first on Jackson. I mentioned that stretch that Michigan State was coming off of, and it's a lot of games early for Tom Izzo's squad, and you know, only the 10th game. The expectations for this team were so high this year, but turnovers, one of the areas that he came out of that stretch not happy with. 8 turnovers in this one so far for Michigan State, an area that Tom Izzo told us we really have to get better at.
Yeah, they're -3 turnover margin thus far on the season.
Cohee. Marin in the corner for 3. Rebound Callaway.
Well, Callaway's played a nice game. especially in the absence of Masoko down there.
Marin trying again. Gonna get that one. Callaway trying to get it, but Jaren Jackson bodied him out. Here's Bridges down the baseline. Bridges dumping it underneath to Ward, and Ward with the left hand able to put it in. Nick Ward with 7. Here's Callaway once more. Double team comes from Ward. Eights inside. Ward able to grab the rebound, and a foul is going to be called on Eights. That'll be his 3rd. Upcoming Oakland, then back home for Houston Baptist on BTN, Long Beach State, Cleveland State, Savannah State. And really, if they play up to their capability, this Michigan State team should be about 14-1 by the time conference play resumes.
And that Oakland game is going to be very interesting. They're going to play that in the new arena in Detroit. And the Golden Grizz, a team that really likes to get up and down the floor and score. And for Big Ten fans, they may remember there's a new addition eligible this year for Oakland in the form of Kendrick Nunn, the transfer from Illinois.
Kind of a cool doubleheader they're doing there at Little Caesars, where Michigan will play Detroit and Michigan State will play Oakland. Backing up for 3 is McGee, and McGee able to splash it down and bring the Thunderbirds within 10. 9 Michigan State turnovers, and that one leading to 3 points.
Nice
Langford
pass.
inside the wall. Good vision by Joshua Langford. It's been really good of late. 16 points per game, shooting 47% over the last 4 games. Marin looking for the screen, got it from Medunic. Callaway on the attack against Goins, and that one rebounded by Bridges.
They ran him off the 3-point line. Nice job of trying to make him beat you off the dribble rather than the standstill.
Bridges with the crossover, gets to the rim, and Bridges with 7.
And Cohee with those 2 fouls didn't want to put up too much resistance. We saw Bridges do that to him in the first half as well on the opposite side of the basket.
And the answer comes again for Southern Utah. 50-39. Should mention that because we talked about it coming out of the halftime break, as Ward going back to work again. Everything that has been scored for Michigan State in this second half has come right in that painted area. You saw Ward attacking there again.
Yeah, you don't want to. You don't want to live strictly by the 3-point shot as they did in the first half, and Bridges showing you his versatility. They clear out that side of the floor, and he understands that with Cohee and those 2 fouls, they need him on the floor. Does Southern Utah. He understood attack that inside hip, and there's no shot blocking presence on that backside for Southern Utah.
One more for Ward. Nick Ward, the first Spartan into double figures. He's got 10 points.
And you compare now the freshness of that front line for Michigan State against what's out there right now for Southern Utah. Both the post players for Southern Utah grabbing their shorts during this foul shot because they don't have the luxury of getting a rest until the next media timeout.
And of course that depth thinned by the foul trouble for Musoko. Marin down the baseline, bumped by Ward, the ball loose and scooped up by Medunic, and Medunic gets Southern Utah back on the board. 10-point game. Ward, quick attack. Ward can't get the hoop, but the foul.
Beautiful pass by Bridges. Led Ward right into his shot, forcing Southern Utah to give the foul. Only 10 points in the paint in the first 20 minutes. 6 thus far in the first 4 of the second stanza for the Spartans.
Subscribe now to BTN Plus. You'll get to watch things like the Rutgers game that you see right there. You'll also gain access to hundreds of non-televised games, including men's basketball. Pass is starting at just $9.95 a month. You can see your school in action and never miss a moment of the excitement. Get BTN Plus available on BTN to go. But here on BTN, you can watch Tom Izzo put his head in his hands a moment ago, frustrated in a 10-point game, is going to the free throw line. Nick Ward, who scored 5 of the last 7 Michigan State points. Michigan State in this second half, they opened with a 3. Since then, every shot attempt has been in the paint. And Ward with one more free throw after the miss.
And they need to continue to utilize that part of their game because even at full strength, this roster of Southern Utah just didn't have the physical nor the number of bodies that they could throw at Michigan State, and it's been decimated a little bit further with Masoko on the bench, their primary presence down low with 3 first-half fouls. We've not seen him on the floor here to start the second half.
And Southern Utah, a team that was just 6-27 a year ago, has a chance to cut this to a single-digit deficit in the second half in East Lansing. Marin, the handoff to Cohey with 10 on the shot clock. Jaden Cohey, 5 on the shot clock now. Brandon Better down the baseline. Floater won't go, and it's picked up by Michigan State before the horn. Bridges will run the other way. Bridges, the lob to Ward, got it down, and the foul.
I tell you what, Ward showed you some athleticism. He ran the floor extremely well. Bridges able to get out on that strong or left side. We take a look at our State Farm assist of the game, Kevin. Not necessarily the best pass, but the completion really important and impressive by Ward. Look where his head was the entire time when the ball was up in the air on our State Farm assist of the game from Miles Bridges to fellow sophomore Nick Ward.
One shot, here we go.
Ward back to the line. 18 made field goals. We've got a whistle and a violation.
Yeah, lane violation.
Yeah, Brandon Better in early. So Ward gets another chance. 18 made field goals for Michigan State. 17 assists, Sean. Some sharing occurring.
It is the season of giving.
It is. Michigan State handing out gifts left and right.
You can give me what you got me last year for the holidays.
Size and everything still the same?
Still the same.
All right.
Yeah.
Pleasure of my company in the new year. That's what you get. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a gift most people turn down, but you, for some reason, accept it.
They dismiss with extreme prejudice, but yet I continue to show up. You're all right. I don't care what anyone else says.
Gotta have somebody in my corner. Our producer, Bart Fox, is certainly not. On the drive, Aites. The floater won't go. The rebound, Jaren Jackson.
And now Masoko back in the ball game to try to assert himself, but he's going to be really challenged with those 3 fouls, and he's been on the bench this entire second half, so I think they've kind of felt it slipping away with Michigan State really starting to make a concerted effort to go inside, and Coach Simon just figured out, you know what, I have nothing to lose. Let me get my most physical player down there on the block.
James McGee has to check out. That was his 4th foul. Brandon Better right back in the game.
And McGee, that really the only player still on the roster from when Coach Simon took over, almost complete turnover of the roster in a little bit over a year and a half.
Yeah, about 18 months. There were a couple of walk-ons and McGee. Other than that, it's all new faces. 10 turnovers for Michigan State. The corner, 3 for Better, an air ball. Nice catch inside by Aites, and Aites battling down low is fouled by Jackson. Nope, they will not call it on Jackson. Looks like it'll go on Gavin Schilling instead.
Aites well traveled. This is his 3rd stop. Began his career at UNLV, then BYU, and now at Southern Utah.
And his 2nd time with Todd Simon as a coach, here as head at UNLV as assistant coach. Todd Simon had nothing but good things to say today about Tom Izzo. He's so appreciative of the opportunity that Coach Izzo has given his team to come up here and play this game.
Especially the one thing he really pointed out was the fact that, you know, because the fact that they were coming off were the Thunderbirds a year where they only won 6 ball games, a lot of coaches would say, you know, I don't want to take the hit of my RPI.
Right.
Yet he overlooked that. You know, Coach Simon, as you mentioned, a local guy from Michigan, wanting to give him an opportunity, and you won't find anyone that's going to say anything but positive things, and deservedly so, about, you know, Coach Izzo, and understanding that, you know, not every program has the ability and the opportunity to have games like they do in a national exposure. This is a big deal for Southern Utah to have the opportunity to get their brand out there on a national basis.
And I thought it was interesting because we were talking with him about how you do that. Southern Utah has not had a season over 500 since 2006. That was the last time they started 5-3. They ended that year over 500. They haven't been above 500 since then. And he said, here's what we're doing. We're studying Gonzaga, VCU, Butler, some of those programs at what they did at the beginning, how they built at the beginning of their program in order to try to build our program in Cedar City, Utah. And he said, we think there's a need for that. He said in each of those places, a need developed to have a program grow. He said, we're at the point where we think there's a need, and we want to be that program.
And the other thing that really stood out during our conversation with him was the fact that he understood and appreciated the fact he has great administrative support. Because without that, if you have administrators that either one, don't care, or two, they may care, but they don't know whether the ball is pumped or stuffed, you don't have an opportunity. You have to have that, especially when it comes to things like fundraising and building and enhancing facilities, which I don't care what level you're at now in intercollegiate athletics, is necessary.
Just a 10-point game is going back to work the Thunderbirds in the offensive end with Better. They hand off to Marin. Marin with 12 to shoot. Madunic, deep three. It's good, and the Thunderbirds are within 7.
And a really nice job of utilizing that misdirection dribble by Marin. He dribbled it to the right, then kicked it back to the left and allowed his teammate to step into that three. Really good half-court set by Southern Utah.
This is as close as they've been since 32-23.
You got to go inside. You've got to get a touch for either Goins or get it to Jackson.
There's Goins inside to Jackson. How about both? And it results in a foul and free throws. That's number 4 on Christian Musoko. That's a big one. Well, we mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. It's been that kind of week in college basketball. Unranked Boston College with a win today over Duke. Washington knocking off Kansas on Wednesday. You'd think maybe with a win here today, Michigan State moves to the top-ranked team in the country.
Villanova may have a say in that.
They are undefeated, just beat Gonzaga.
And that Kansas game, a de facto home game, although not played in Lawrence, it was played in Kansas City. Nevertheless, that is a big win for first-year coach Mike Hopkins out in Seattle.
And an unexpected win for perhaps anybody outside of Mike Hopkins' locker room.
And depending on the mood, some of those players from Kansas might have found out how long a walk it is from Kansas City to Lawrence.
Jackson with one more free throw. He's got 9 tonight to go with 7 rebounds. And now in the double figures. Ward with 13, Jackson with 10 to pace the Spartans.
And if you're Michigan State on this end of the floor, you have to defend outside in. You have to run Southern Utah off that three-point line and funnel them toward the shot blockers, in particular Jackson, because right now the three-point shot is what is keeping them around.
Marin driving it inside. Couldn't get the roll, but he's fouled. No fear for the freshman.
He's been very impressive with his court savvy, understanding spacing, and he understood that they were going to run him off the three-point line. Really good job by the freshman of keeping his shoulder to the rim and forcing Michigan State to come through him.
Third foul on Gavin Schilling. But Marin can't hit the free throw. So Schilling will sit down. Ward back on the floor.
And Jackson, I think, wants to come out. He got poked in the eye, and he's been kind of rubbing his eye, even going back in defensive transition.
So Bridges back in for him.
And he's going. You wonder if he maybe has a contact problem, because Jackson just looks like he's going back into the locker room.
Yeah, he ran on a dead sprint to the locker room. We'll see him again. Quick three for Bridges. No, a foul first.
They got 8s.
Yep, and for 8s, that is his 4th foul. So really big foul troubles for a couple of bigs now for Southern Utah. 8s with 4, Musoko with 4, and in the backcourt, James McGee with 4.
Yeah, and even though it's a mythical bird, you have a couple of Thunderbirds on the verge of extinction because of fouls.
And unlike the Phoenix, they will not rise again. Ward at the line. 2 for 5 tonight. And now 2 for 6, missing that front end. 8 fouls on the Thunderbirds, 4 on the Spartans in this second half. Michigan State with 10 second half free throw attempts. They're 6 of 10. Marin around the screen from Callaway. Callaway's three. It falls. Callaway keeping the Thunderbirds around. It's a 5-point game.
4 triples, all standstill by Callaway. If you're Michigan State, you've shown what he can do from standstill. When he puts the ball on the floor, it's not nearly as effective. If you're Michigan State, you have to understand that.
And a foul away from the ball on Madunic.
Now Callaway, that's just too late getting out there by going. You know, he has shot the ball extremely well from either wing, showing you his ability to hit it from the top of the key, but you have to be a half a step closer with that hand up and force Callaway to put the ball on the floor.
Look at those three-point numbers. 11 of 22 from 3. And another missed free throw for Ward. Ward really struggling, 2 for 7 at the line. And in a 5-point game, the Thunderbirds back to work on offense. Better thought about it. Bridges got out on him. 15 to shoot. Callaway, who's got 12 tonight on 4 for 6 shooting from 3. Here's Cohey, 8 on the shot clock. Cohey against Langford, back out on travel. But Madunic took a step. And a timeout on the floor. A 10-1 run for the Thunderbirds. Tom Izzo's team in a battle at home on BTN. Basketball on BTN is brought to you in part by State Farm, here to help life go right. When she made her raining threes umbrella, she may not have expected 11 of them made from Southern Utah, but it's a good thing that she didn't enter the storm of the Breslin Center without that umbrella, because we've seen 18 combined threes tonight.
7 of 13 from behind the arc for the Michigan State Spartans, albeit 0 of 3 in the second stanza. And the visitors from Southern Utah, 50% from behind the arc thus far, including 5 of 8 here in the first 8 minutes plus of the second half.
Callaway helping that charge. He has 12 points, all on three-pointers. Goins back to work in a 5-point game. Bridges backing into the paint. Bridges turns, can't get it to go. Battling for his own rebound, and a foul is going to be called underneath against the Thunderbirds. That'll go on Cohey, and Cohey with his third.
Yeah, remember Cohey, the leading scorer for Southern Utah, got 2 quick fouls and had to go to the bench for a period of time in the first half. And to the credit of his teammates, they've picked up the slack admirably, especially guys like Callaway knocking down 3-point shots. Callaway, a pretty good 3-point shooter at 36%, but all 4 of his 3-pointers made thus far have been at the standstill. You have to find him, be it in transition or the half court if you're Michigan State, and run him off that line.
9 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists for Miles Bridges tonight. 7-point ball game. Brandon Better against Bridges. Better, little crossover, went off the foot of Bridges. He lost it, Ward able to pick it up. Quick ahead to Bridges. Bridges on the spin, into the paint. The body control spectacular, the shot just off.
I think he kind of lost it on the way up. Just didn't quite have it cleanly.
Marin all the way inside, and Marin, it's swatted out of bounds, and a foul is going to be called. 2 Spartans there, and Kenny Goins picks up the personal.
This kid, Marin, is fearless. Now, the block was clean, but the contact was made earlier. And for a guy, Kevin, that looks like you should be berating him because your paper was delivered late, he can get to the rim with some authority.
Have a little understanding. He's busy.
Yeah.
He's got basketball. He's been traveling. Your paper's going to be a little late.
Really been impressed with his toughness and court savvy.
Todd Simon says he'll be fantastic here for a lot of years. They are really high on this young man. You can see why. He's got double figures now. 10 points against Michigan State.
And how about being efficient with the ball? 4 assists, only 1 turnover. And he's closing in on almost 30 minutes of game time.
Yeah, remember, he had to play a larger role when Cohey got those early fouls. Bridges working against Cohey, and Bridges popped Cohey as he turned his shoulder into him. Cohey is still down.
Yeah, that was inadvertent on the spin, but that wasn't in the face. That was in kind of the windpipe.
Yeah, got him right under the chin.
Yeah, and there was nothing malicious there, not in the least. Now, that doesn't make it hurt any less.
And I'm sure they'll take a look at it just to make sure.
See, that's a basketball move. I mean, he wasn't extending the elbow. They'll take a look at it because there was contact above the shoulder. But, you know, Cohey, the other thing that went to his detriment, he was off balance, Kevin. If he's on balance, chances are his head is a little bit higher, and if he was going to take any of that contact on the spin move, it was probably going to be in the chest.
One more look at it here. Just kind of popped him on the way by. Cohey looks like he's all right. For Bridges, that bucket counts. It's a double-double tonight, 11 points, 10 rebounds.
You know, when they start taking a look at it, trying to determine if something's flagrant, they're obviously looking at intent. That's a basketball play. There was no intent. You know, he's making that spin move and making what would be known as a basketball move.
One more look at it.
Spin right there, just trying to turn the corner, and Cohey had the wind knocked out of him. Usually when you have the wind knocked out of you, it's because you get hit in the the solar plexus or something like that.
Chris Beaver will come over and tell Sean. He's chatting with Sean right now. And the report from Chris Beaver.
Just like we thought, Kevin, a basketball play, nothing flagrant there, play on.
7-point game. Cohey back out there. Like he was stunned a little bit, able to recover. Nice catch by Better. That one almost got past him, and Better down the baseline. Pass tip to Marin. Marin backs it out. Better on the drive to the rim, and it's rejected by Jackson. And then Jackson saves it, and it goes out of bounds off the Thunderbirds.
And that's why, if you're Michigan State, you have to run Southern Utah off the three-point line. They're 50% from deep, but if you run them off the line, you have that opportunity for Jaren Jackson, the freshman, who had 8 blocks last time out, to come and clean up the mess.
Four blocks for Jackson. Bridges inside, lays that one in, and it's 62-53.
And that's the third time that Cohey has been isolated on Miles Bridges, and the third time that Bridges has been able to get his hips by that primary defender and complete.
9:45 to play. Marin's three won't go down. Rebound tipped into the hands of Jaren Jackson. Jackson closing in on a double-double. 10 points, 9 rebounds. Bridges. Jumper won't go. Rebound tipped out of bounds. And it's going to stay. I believe a foul is called underneath against Marin. Or on Callaway. It's Callaway who gets that one.
Yeah, he went not quite with a figure 4 leg lock on Goins, but it was in the vicinity.
Free throws, 15 of 23 for Michigan State, 8 of 14, 57% in the second half. A little frustration from Tom Izzo.
One shot, here we go, one shot.
Back up by 10, Michigan State. On the shot clock for Cohey. Cohey, the pull-up jumper. And Cohey able to get that one down. He's got 12. 8-point game. Quick attack, Bridges 3. And the rebound, Musoko back on the floor with those 4 fouls. Marin to Better. Over Goins with the 3. Not a good shot there. Callaway able to save it. Back up top. Marin drives inside, and Marin is fouled. I am impressed with Dre Marin. Marin is just time and time again, Sean, he has no problem driving right into the teeth of this Michigan State defense.
And not just attacking off the dribble, But once he gets in the vicinity of the rim, Kevin, he'll put his shoulder in. He's not trying to shy away from contact. He's not necessarily body hunting, but he wants to make that defender come through him.
Just 3 for 5 at the line is Marin. Seven-point ball game again. Thunderbirds just hanging around. 63-56.
Now Masoko in there. You know, Jackson could take him down on the block because Masoko's not going to be able to play with nearly the defensive vigor that he was for the first 25 minutes of this ball game.
Winston with 7 on the shot clock. Here's Jackson on the attack. Jackson, count it, and a foul.
And a really good job, Kevin, by Jaren Jackson, the freshman, of dribbling with the purpose.
Cohee called for the foul. A lot of continuation there.
Yeah. Not quite 1970s NBA, but close. Still, just a wonderful job by Jackson of dribbling with a purpose. And what I mean by that, Kevin, he had the ball out in front of him rather than to his side. That allowed him to turn the corner.
Well, you can watch Big Ten basketball wherever you are with Cohee on the bench or elsewhere. BTN to go and Fox Sports Go have it for you. Never miss a thing all season long. Available on the App Store and Google Play. Cohee going to the bench to watch on BTN to go after picking up his 4th foul. Brandon Better gets to the rim.
And a really nice job by Masoko of getting in the way. He rolled to the basket off that high ball screen and eliminated the weak side help for Michigan State.
Under 8 minutes to play and an 8-point game. The flip to Langford, rotation to Bridges for 3. Halfway down, and the rebound taken away from Marin by Jackson. Can't get the shot to fall. Jackson working again, won't go. Jackson stays with it. Jackson's not going to get it to go again, but a foul.
And somewhere, Kevin, Jaren Jackson is making Moses Malone smile because offensive rebound stats being padded, everything but the basket. He'll have a chance when we come back to extend it to double digits.
Southern Utah hanging around, down by 8, but the road becomes even tougher. Southern Utah has a boatload of foul trouble. In fact, 5 players, Sean Morris, with 4 fouls.
A theme that has carried over for the Thunderbirds from a year ago where they were last in the country, dead last in terms of fouls committed, 803, 24 per game. Right on that pace again this season at 23, and just between those individuals listed, you have 20 cumulative fouls there. And you knew that Michigan State had a decided advantage in terms of not just physicality along that front line, but the depth with which they could come at Southern Utah. And Southern Utah, even with that, has done a really good job of battling for long periods of time the Spartans down on the block.
Jackson in the opener this year against North Florida. 9 for 10 at the line. Tonight, 9 for 10 at the line again. He's had a solid game. 15 points, 12 rebounds.
4 blocks. Not bad.
Marin. Now McGee with 13 to shoot. Back to Marin. Masoko. Tough play. Jackson coming from behind. May have gotten a piece of that one, and he gets the rebound. Now the push. Langford looking inside to Bridges. Bridges, who has 13. Going to work. Masoko, one of those 5 with 4 fouls. Put up a little resistance.
And again, with that inside pivot, Kevin, what that forces the defender to do, Masoko, once you turn and face the defender, the armbar cannot be utilized. That takes away the strength advantage that Masoko might have had earlier.
Cassius Winston called for the foul, his first.
This is what we're talking about. Once you turn and face, notice where the armbar was. Now when you turn and face, that armbar has to come off, and then it becomes a quickness battle, and Bridges wins.
We talked about points in the paint at halftime. Only 10 for Michigan State at halftime. Now 16 this half in the paint for Michigan State, 26 overall. Nick Ward back in for Jaren Jackson. Ivan Madudic on the floor for Musoko. 1-1 for Brandon Better. Had a hard time getting it going tonight. Is better. 7 points. 1 for 6 from 3 in the front end, rebounded by Bridges.
Even with that, if you are Michigan State, you have to know where he's at because he can't heat it up in a hurry. Better came into this ball game shooting north of 40%, 42% to be exact, for three-point range.
6:40 to go. Better jumps it down low to Ates. Ates driving inside. No foul called. Miss on the rebound by Madunic. He thought should have been somebody holding on to the rim.
And they gave Ward the benefit of the doubt because they wanted it for player safety. That was the interpretation of the official, that he was holding on to the rim because there was traffic underneath him. And
72-58. .6:10 to go in this one. Marin. Now Better. The pull-up from 12. Halfway down, pops back out. Madunic tips it into the hands of Langford.
if they can get it to Ward, he can just go to work here.
And here he goes. Ward gets pounded, and there's the foul. Madunic grabbed him by the shoulder and yanked him down on the way up.
Yeah.
Second foul on Madunic. Watch this. Chopping down. He had the left hand on the shoulder and the right hand, a karate chop.
Yeah, he's beaten badly. And again, they will go and take a look because of where that contact occurred above the shoulders. I don't know. I don't know if there's enough there for that to be a flagrant one.
He was going towards the ball.
He's making a play on the ball.
At the ball. Now, that's a little grayer area than the last one they looked at.
I think it would have been a much easier call to shade toward a flagrant one if that other hand would have stayed on the shoulder. But that hand was on the shoulder, then he took it off. But this is certainly going to require a little bit more observation than the play where Cohee took one on that dribble drive by Bridges.
Continuing to look at it here. Let's take one more look. The chop down to Nick Ward.
They're looking to determine, Kevin, if that was an F1 exactly as we thought.
They're debating it right now. Like we said, this is a much grayer area. He's making a play on the ball, but he did come across the head there. .72-58. And they're not going to say anything other than basketball play, common foul, move on.
That would have been my interpretation.
Chris Bieber will come over and clean it up with Sean Morris at the broadcast table here. So Nick Ward's going to the free throw line. This has not been his strength tonight. 2 for 7 at the line. He's got 15 points. So just a common foul and Ward to the line. Nice bounce back overall for Nick Ward, who didn't see a lot of action in that second half against Rutgers. He has been out there tonight and made the most of his 20-plus minutes with 16, now 17 points.
And that's the best 2 free throws he's shot. Now, you don't, if you're Nick Ward, you don't want to have your head nearly taken off for you to make 2 free throws in a row, but he certainly responded well.
12 of his 17 in this second half as Cohee tries to jumpstart this Thunderbird offense. Marin hands it back to Cohee, 10 on the shot clock. Back to Marin in the corner. He'll try the 3, not going to go. Rebound plucked by Madunic. Madunic driving it up, gets it through the block attempt of McQuaid. The bucket good and a foul.
Southern Utah is not going anywhere. I mean, they continue to scrap and continue to battle.
This is the team picked last in the 12-team Big Sky, but as you mentioned earlier, Sean, completely retooled team. And the long rebound saved in play by Ward, and it'll belong to Michigan State.
Medunich able to play through some contact by McQuaid, and McQuaid understands that if you're going to give the contact that deep, you can't allow Medunich to even get the ball above his shoulders. Make him earn both from the foul line, not a chance at an and one.
The three for Winston, and Cassius Winston. 4 for 5 from three. He's got 12.
And a nice job by Winston of utilizing the screen by Ward, which completely eliminated the Southern Utah perimeter defense.
Brandon Better trying to split two defenders, couldn't get around him. Bridges picks up the loose ball, quick pass ahead to Winston. Winston inside, no. Ward bats it out of bounds off the Thunderbirds, and it'll stay with Michigan State. Jared Jackson back on the floor for Ward.
And if you're Sissoko, you're sitting there thinking, Ward comes out and Jackson comes in? Where's
Not
my
fair.
rest?
Bridges, oh, beautiful spin. Gets it to the rim and lays it into the largest lead for Michigan State at 19.
And he could have made a case for an and one there. I thought he took some contact up top.
Thunderbirds got it to 5 at 56-51, but it has been all Spartans since. And it happened in a hurry to Southern Utah. Cohee, the spin at the elbow. High arcing shot won't go. Rebound knocked out of the hands of Jackson. Still loose on the floor. And a whistle, the possession arrow favoring Michigan State. It'll stay, or rather favoring Southern Utah. It'll stay on this end.
Well, Miles Bridges can knock down three-point shots, but has shown the ability to make that spin going either way and able to complete on the right side of the basket with his strong hand, and could have made a case for a chance at an and one.
Joshua Langford, Kenny Goins back on the floor. A lob inside Basoko, couldn't catch it. Tipped ahead by Nairn to McQuaid.
What a play by Nairn.
And then Cohee able to tip the pass, going the other way. Marin attacking Nairn inside, and a foul is called. Nairn with the personal timeout in East Lansing with Michigan State up 19.
Refson in our Chicago studios. Get you back out to East Lansing momentarily for the conclusion of the game involving the Spartans and the Thunderbirds. As soon as it is over, this reminder, you got a top 15 hockey matchup, Minnesota and Ohio State, coming up right here on BTN. And when that is over, we wrap up a busy day of hoops on The Big Show, presented by Geico, as Robbie Hummel rejoins me. Kevin, Sean.
Top 4 in the AP rankings. Duke losing earlier today at Boston College. Kansas lost their first loss of the year against Washington on Wednesday. Does that mean with a win tonight, Michigan State becomes the new #1 team in the land? Or, Sean Morris, does Villanova jump and move up to that top spot unbeaten with a nice resume win on their schedule now?
If I were casting a vote, even though Michigan State has had an outstanding season to date, I think the nod may go to the Wildcats of Villanova. But, you know, polls, you know, it's a great thing for the fans. You know, the coaches aren't going to get too wound up about it.
No, I doubt Tom Izzo will be particularly concerned. 1, 2, or 3. Assuming they hang on in this one, they'll be one of those likely top 2 spots as Marin comes up empty on the free throw. 4 for 7 for Marin at the line. (79-61). There's Winston. Jaren Jackson against Musoko. Up top, Winston's three is good again. Cassius Winston's hit 5 from behind the arc. He's got 15 points. 5 of 6 in 26 minutes for Cassius Winston.
Also 5 assists, only 1 miscue in that time as well.
A great block by Jaren Jackson, recovering to get back to Musoko and block it. Now Langford on the run. Langford's jumper not going to go. Long rebound to McGee in the corner.
Not a good shot. Because right now, you can get that shot anytime. Right now, with just north of 3 minutes, force Southern Utah to defend.
Don't forget Minnesota Ohio State hockey coming up when we're done here. Cassius Winston will bring it up the floor. And a timeout called by Tom Izzo. That man's up by 21. Michigan State 82-61, 2:52 remaining. The Izzo feeling confident that the Spartans are about to get their 9th win of the year. You saw Tom Izzo as we went to break, however. He was not resting on his laurels or this team's laurels as Jackson working inside is fouled, and Musoko was the guy working on him, and that'll be the end of the night for Christian Musoko. Boy, did he play hard tonight, Sean. The stats aren't going to show it. 4 points, 5 rebounds, but he did some good work despite the foul trouble.
Especially early in the game, really battling Nick Ward down on the block.
Tomorrow on BTN, a hoops doubleheader begins as Iowa takes on Southern, then Purdue battles IUPUI. And all tomorrow right here on BTN, streaming live on BTN To Go and Fox Sports Go. Starting at 5 Eastern, some hoops action continuing on BTN. $15 points tonight for Jackson, make it 16 to go with his 13 rebounds. He has 4 of Michigan State's 12 blocks. They tied the school record for a single game last game against Rutgers with 13. And that's 25 in the last 2 games for Michigan State.
And Jackson had 8 of those.
And their 3 bigs, Ward, Bridges, Jackson, each with 17 points tonight. Schilling back on the floor now for the Spartans. Michigan State, their 4 home wins have been by a little over 25 points per game. Callaway trying to help Southern Utah crawl back in, but a game that was much closer just a few moments ago is looking like it's going to end a Spartan blowout as McQuaid with the touch to Schilling, and Schilling stretches the lead to 25.
That's 24 assists on 27 made baskets.
It's pretty good. You mentioned those bigs, and as this drive by Better falls, Miles Bridges has had the quietest 17-point, 11 rebound, 6 assist game that you could have. And we mentioned those blocked shots. The block party on Tuesday at Rutgers, 13. Now 12 tonight. Makes it 25 in 2 games for the Spartans. As Connor George checks in for the first time tonight. McQuaid with an open 3. And the rebound, Marin. Long pass ahead to Cohey. Cohey attacking George. Connor George able to stay with it defensively inside. Callaway battling. Callaway tied up. Michigan State ball. Nairn with 1:20 to go. Here's George, back to Schilling. George looking inside. 10 on the shot clock for Nairn. Schilling with 4 to shoot. McQuaid inside, 1 on the shot clock. No, Schilling's foul won't go. Now, I thought that caught rim. It looked like Schilling caught rim as he went up, and that shouldn't be a shot clock violation. The official was just pointing at his chest saying, now see that graze, that's McQuaid's shot, it grazed off the rim, and then Schilling got it off the rim. You heard the explanation Tom Izzo is hearing. You'll see it right there. It grazes the rim.
Inadvertent whistle was the call.
And so you go to the
alternating
possession arrow, and it belongs to Southern Utah. Marin will hand it off to Better. Better crossing over, getting inside. No on that shot. Rebound Tillman. Spartans got a challenge tonight. Maybe one they weren't expecting from Southern Utah. But the number 3 ranked team in the nation flexed their formidable muscle in the final 8 minutes, Sean, and are making this one look a lot easier than it was.
Especially in the paint in the last 15 minutes. Only 10 points in the paint in the first 20 minutes for Michigan State, but that was certainly a point of emphasis at halftime, and Michigan State responded, and they continued to do so in the last 25 seconds.
Xavier Tillman with the flush to punctuate the Spartans' 9th win of the year. 88-63 Michigan State. 4 Spartans in double figures. Jackson, Bridges, Ward, each with 17. Nothing doing down there. Tillman, did he get credit for a block on that one? If he did, that'll tie the school record again. Ball knocked loose, no block. Better. And Cohey at the horn. That won't count. It doesn't matter. It doesn't go in anyway. And the Spartans win at 88-63. Michigan State now 9-1. Southern Utah falls to 5-4 as Todd Simon and Tom Izzo shake hands at the end of this one. Michigan State gets the victory tonight over the Thunderbirds of Southern Utah. That'll do it from here in the Breslin Center. Our final score, 88-63 Michigan State. Right to men's hockey now as Minnesota takes on Ohio State. For Sean Morris, I'm Kevin Kugler.